starting with their sacrifice, coming here in June. We put them through boot camp, basically, and then Summer League, they were great. And then they kept us afloat when we had all those injuries. And then our G League team, the Charge, had an unbelievable season. And then they kind of finish it with a game like this. So it's really about them tonight, but I'll answer any other questions.
Just speaking about tonight's game, obviously the scrappiness that we've seen from these guys, not only Tyrese Proctor and Naquan Tomlin, but the two-way guys. What did you get the opportunity to learn about this team as a whole through this 82-game grind?
Yeah, I mean, tonight, like, forget the offense, we scored, but it was really about the challenge to them was to do the dirty work tonight, get back in transition defense, rebound, offensive rebound, like all the stuff role players are supposed to do. And, you know, it wasn't about scoring 30 because these games can get that way. So, Ethan, I think it's about the whole roster getting the message, you know, guys playing their roles, everybody knowing where they sit in terms of hierarchy. We got great leadership. Listen, 52 wins, like I said, before the game, you know, being 17-16, I just think it's a really good accomplishment.
Not to look too far ahead, but you guys just found out that you guys are going to play Toronto in the first round of the playoffs. How exciting is it just to be back in the playoff setting with a chance to do better than you did last year? Yeah,
it's exciting. I've said it post-trade deadline. We're a better team than we were pre-trade. We, you know, front office did an amazing job adding the pieces we added. We're a better team, so therefore it gives us a better chance to improve on what we did last year and what we've done the last 3 years. But listen, Toronto, we know that's no picnic, right? They, you know, low-key dominated us, right, for, you know, the games we played them this year. So we just have a lot of respect. But it's great. Toronto's a great basketball city, great, you know, great challenge for us, you know, but really good team.
Jim, what is it about, I mean, it's hard to size them up now because you guys are trying, your team has changed so much, but what did you learn from those early matchups against them that you think you can apply in this playoff series?
I mean, transition defense is the first, their speed, you know, and then they turn you over, right? So they're really good at that. Brandon Ingram's a high level, you know, player, high level scorer. But they've done it as a group this year. So a lot of respect for what they've done. I mean, I think they deserve to be where they are. But you know, this is going to be a, you know, big challenge for us. That's what I think.
You mentioned the transition defense there. Is it the common wisdom is that the game always slows down in the playoffs and that's not as valuable? Is that still the case? Has that changed?
I don't know. We saw Indiana last year. They exploited that. So I don't know if there's absolutes anymore in the playoffs. I think the game's changed so much that I don't think they're going to change. I don't think they're going to come in here and say, hey, you know, it's a playoffs, we're going to slow up. I would say they double down on their identity. You know, good challenge for us.
Cameron.
You mentioned being a better team now after the trade deadline. Not to be reflective, but maybe in this transition into the playoffs. What is it about this team that gives you confidence that you will do better?
I don't know. You know, adding James Harden helps a lot with that confidence, quite honestly. Top 10 player of all time. I think, like I said, his addition has given us a confidence. We're a more mature ball club. I keep saying that. Maturity and poise, I think, wins in playoffs. And then IQ. I think we're a higher IQ team. Again, we already have that with Donovan and Evan, but adding James is super high level IQ. To me, that bodes well for improving our playoff performances.
You talked about the young guys and some of the guys that spent time on the G League this season. In this game in particular, I know it's one game sample size, but how much were you kind of looking to see, because anything can happen in the playoffs, these guys may have...
I told him that before the game. I said that's what we're evaluating tonight. We're evaluating, still evaluating, still keep an eye on who can help us in the playoffs. And it's not about who can score 20 points this game. It's about who's going to defend, who's going to rebound, who's going to do the dirty work, who understands their role. So yeah, this is definitely, this game was part of that evaluation.
Yeah.
Coach, building off of your experience from last year, is there anything you're doing differently preparation-wise for the playoffs?
I like our process. I like, I like what we do, how we approach it, organizationally, right? Because there's a lot of things that are different once the playoffs start. So, like I said, I like our process. I don't anticipate us changing much.
In that process, any unsung heroes that you could give credit to?
Oh man, if there's ever a program where it's like a village that does it, like I'm a piece of it. Like I always say, we have a flat hierarchy here. Like we have great people that work for us. Analytics, social media. You guys know all the pieces that we're a real team. So take everybody. I think organizations win championships, right? It's everybody. So that is good news for us because we got a lot of great people, as you know, that work here.
OG.
Kenny, Tyree's big fourth quarter on Friday night.
Yeah.
Big game tonight. What did you like about the way he ended the season and his whole thing?
I just can't believe his 42nd pick. I'm just like, we got to steal. That's where I am. I'm not bragging about it, right? But like, our front office and scouting is top notch. You find a kid like that, because to me, from day one in training camp, we all said he belongs. He's just like confirming that. He's got grit, toughness. He's highly skilled. You need the skill. Once his body catches up, to the rest, he's going to be a big time player in this league, I think.
Rachel.
There was a stat, Kenny, that a couple weeks ago that this team was one of the most successful teams in basketball history with over 30 different starting lineups. Can you just talk about where you're at mentally? Where are you at as far as this team goes coming into the playoffs, and just how much it took a toll on you with injuries and things like that? Where's your spirit right now?
You got to send BJ that stat first of all, where you got it, because that's pretty cool. I think that was part like what I talked about pregame, the struggles, right, and using that as a positive, and believing that we're a stronger team because of it, and it's going to help us in the playoffs. All the different starting lineups, the in and out, guys having to fight through injuries and come back, return to play, return to perform, all that. It makes you stronger, and it's made our bench stronger, right? I mean, you see the young guys; these guys have all played in regular season games, like big games for us, and helped us win. So. Like I said, it makes me believe that we're going to be more prepared for the playoffs this year because of all that.
Last one, maybe.
Kenny, do you have any kind of different, I know you talked about the process, but different kind of schedule or whatever, because your first playoff opponent so much earlier this time?
We're going to try to, it's hard. I wish I could put the schedule up on the whiteboard, but we're kind of going to follow the same routine what we did. I do think guys need a day to breathe, and then we'll do a team building thing probably the next day after that, and then we'll start our prep, which matches up with what we did last year. Because we got to check ourselves a little. You don't want to over prepare for these things. You got to hit the right amount of information. If you extend it too long of a period, they're not going to retain enough. So the coaches, obviously, we're going to do our You know, right now it's every day, but players will get a little bit of a breather here.
And just because, you know, the group is still so new, will that affect any kind of practice intensity or anything that you guys do?
No, I mean, with the length of time we have, we'll be able to get a few good practice, like with contact and like real reps, right? You know, which is rare. So, listen, where we are, getting guys back, that's important. You know, we could get, probably 2 days of, high to moderate